Namaskar friends, this is NJ, host on this channel, continuing our discussion on understanding the different houses of our astrological chart. In this video, we will try to understand the importance of the 10th house of your astrological chart and what kind of results you can expect if you will find your 10th house lord's placement in different houses of your astrological chart. So friends, to begin with, if you want to understand the essence of the 10th house, so this house tells about the kind of actions and activities you will perform in this lifetime, whether you have this potential or capacity to impact or influence the world with your deeds or not, and how your actions will be perceived or will be seen in the society, what you will be known for. All of that information can be successfully scrutinized by the assessment of your 10th house. Like the way friends, many times people restrict the signification of the 10th house only to an individual's profession or career. So you have to understand this thing, that in today's day and age where there are so many diversifications available in all the existing sectors, and you cannot even exclude this field, that there are many of those people as well who completely devote their life to the holy and godly services, all the ascetics, all the spiritual people, all the yogis, even they are doing some deeds, some actions. Those actions might not have some financial aspect attached to it, but they are also doing their duties, they are also performing actions. So because of which, doing a career assessment or analysis is altogether a different ball game, because there you have to involve the ascendant lord as well, because unless and until your actions are not getting aligned with your life's direction, you cannot succeed in any particular given field. You also have to involve the second house, which is the house of your finances. Like obviously you want to choose a career which is financially well paying as well. So because of which, doing a professional or a career analysis is altogether a different line of work or different field. But if you want to individually understand the importance, standalone importance of the 10th house, so this house tells about the kind of or the quality of work or deeds you will do in this lifetime, whether your deeds are going to be questionable or very commendable, with how much capacity and strength you will perform your deeds in this lifetime. And after performing any deed, we want to be appreciated, we want to be rewarded. So what kind of rewards and recognition or accomplishment you will attain by performing your deeds in this lifetime. Just because friends, this is the highest point in the chart, so this house also tells about the respectability. This house also tells about the fame, honor, recognition, which we see from the 10th house. Whenever we talk about all the prominent people of the society, they can be attached with the 10th house, and your relationship with them, whether your relationship with the people of authority, government officials, with the government, with the politicians, with your bosses. So what kind of relationship you will enjoy or you will have with the important, strong political figure people. So all of that can be determined by the successful scrutinization of your 10th house. So friends, summarizing it, 10th house, which is a Kendra Bhav, which is a Upachya Bhav, is a very important house to determine an individual's public image, his capacity to do hard work, his capacity to attain greatness, and at the same time all sort of awards, recognition, achievement is seen with the condition and with the quality of the 10th house. Friends, when we talk about the kind of planetary presence which you will find in the 10th house, that is going to give us this idea that what kind of support we will get in the society in order to perform our actions, perform our deeds. Like for example, it's very obvious that if you will find your 7th house lord to be dignified and well placed in your 10th house, so that means your spouse or your partner is going to help you, is going to support you in order to do your actions and do your deeds in this lifetime. But let's say for example, if you will find your 3rd house lord getting weak in the 10th house, so that could indicate that your siblings or your friends or your younger siblings might create hindrance in your public image or might create obstacles in your path in order to do your duties or do your actions or perform your duties in this lifetime. So that is how we see that basis the planetary presence which you will find in the 10th house, it is going to either support us or it is going to create obstacles in the path of performing our duties in this lifetime. Friends, when we talk about all those celebrities, all those successful actors, or all those politicians whose actions, whose deeds, and all of their activities are always in the public eye, so somehow or definitely they will and they always enjoy a strengthened 10th house, because unless and until you do not have a prominent 10th house, you cannot enjoy that stardom or that level of celebrity status in their life. And friends, if you even want to understand the attached significator planets or the Karaka with the 10th house, so just because of the magnitude of importance which this 10th house holds, this house doesn't have only one individual significator or Karaka planet which resonates with the features of this house. This house has got almost 4 planets which can be seen as the attached Karaka of this house. So to begin with, Sun is the first Karaka of this house, which tells about the prospects of fame and status. Saturn is also a Karaka of this house, because Saturn tells about with how much responsibility and with how much discipline you will be able to perform your deeds, whether you have this capacity to endure any difficulty in this lifetime. Mercury can be seen as another significator or Karaka planet with the 10th house, because Mercury tells about your capacity to manage and execute. And lastly, friends, Jupiter can also be attached as one of the Karaka of the 10th house, because Jupiter just infuses the righteousness and virtues and dutifulness towards staying in the right path while performing your duties or actions in this lifetime. So that is something, friends, which I wanted to tell you about the general significations or meaning of the 10th house. Now it is very important to understand that in which condition, in which dignity, and in which house your 10th house lord is present in your chart, because that is going to give you this idea that in order to succeed in the life, whether you are actually working in the direction or in the area where your 10th house lord is present in the chart or not. So friends, if you will find your 10th house lord's placement in the first house, that can be seen as a very good indication. Like the way you know this thing that first house which tells about your personality, and in order for your 10th house lord to be placed in the first house, that means it has to go 4 places ahead of it. So that means your deeds are definitely going to be very emotionally fulfilling for you. And first house, which is all about your individuality, so that in itself is an indicator that this combination is going to be a very good indication of that person can also do very good in business. Like for example, starting or initiating completely on your own. So this placement can be very promising of someone doing or starting a business and succeeding in that. And when we talk about all those people who work with the government, who are like completely self-reliant or completely independent, so this combination or this placement can be seen as a very good indication of that, whether in the form of public image, handling public office, or holding public office, performing public duties, capacity to attain name, fame, recognition. And at the same time, friends, all those professions, all those occupation where your image plays a very pivotal role. Like definitely for someone to become a politician, for someone to become an actor, your image plays a very pivotal role. Your deeds, your activities, your professional success and your professional aspirations are directly connected with your public image. So in all those profession or occupation, native can attain good success with this kind of combination in his chart. Moving ahead, friends, now let's say for example, if we will find your 10th house lord's placement in the second house, so this is also a very good indication. As you know this thing that just in order for your 10th house lord to be present in the second house, so that means it has to go 5 places ahead of it. So that in itself is an indicator that whatsoever line of work native is going to undertake, he will always be very much focused towards the financial prospects attached to it, and at the same time, even in the financial matters, native is definitely going to be very risk taking, or native might have a little bit of a speculative nature at the same time. Like all those people who work in the banking field, who join their family business, so even from all of those perspective, this placement or this combination can be seen as a very good indicator where native is definitely going to have this potential or capacity to carry forward his family name, his family legacies, and perform his duties and actions with complete virtues and values. Now it all comes down to in which dignity, in which condition your 10th house lord is going to be present in the second house. Moving ahead, friends, now let's say for example, if you will find your 10th house lord's placement in the third house. So friends, as you know this thing that with this particular alignment, your 10th house lord has gone 6 houses ahead of it, but just because it is present in the third house, so third house is a very important house, which is a house of your courage, which is a house of your valor, all of your influence in the society, your resourcefulness in the society is somehow attributed and connected with the third house. So which in itself is, to begin with, is an indicator that when we talk about all those fields of like sales, media, marketing, performing arts, or being skilled, working with your hands, or working in any of the given skilled profession, so this combination or this alignment is a very good sign of attaining success in any of those given field. And at the same time, whenever we talk about the 10th house lord's placement in the third house, just because it has gone 6 houses or 6 places ahead of it, so that in itself is an indicator that whichsoever profession you are going to choose, whether you are going to become a graphic designer, whether you are going to become a sculptor, a painter, or a media marketing personnel, you have to be consistent in this mode of attaining that perfection. Discipline and hard-working approach is definitely going to be needed. And it all comes down to when we talk about the third house connected living signification. So it all comes down to in which condition and dignity your 10th house lord is present in the third house. Let's say for example, if it is going to be well placed in the third house, in its own sign, in its friend's sign, or sign of exaltation, so all the living signification of the third house are going to be of help to you, whether in the form of your friends, your colleagues, your comrade, your neighbors. All of those living signification will come to your aid, will come to your help. But let's say for example, if you will find your 10th house lord to be present in the third house and losing out its strength, then in those kind of situation, it could make a person pessimistic. Native might not be very opportunistic, native might not be very proactive to take decision or initiative at the right time, and even the living signification of the third house might create obstacles, hindrances, concerns of enmity, jealousy, envy might come in the way of native's professional aspiration or performing his actions or activities in this lifetime. Friends, if you will find your 10th house lord's placement in the 4th house, so this could be seen as a good indicator in a way that in today's day and age, all those people in whose nature of work there is a provision of working from home. So this placement could be a successful indicator of that. And at the same time, all those people who treat their workspace, their colleagues, their bosses like their family members, so that kind of attachment, that kind of connection with your duties, with your professional life, you can fairly see with this kind of alignment. And at the same time, like all those people in whose case their occupation, their livelihood, or their profession is straight away connected with the 4th house related matters, like working in the field of construction, real estate, or manpower management, anything related to architecture, interior designing. So this placement could be indicative of that as well. Like all those people who deal in luxury goods, or in whose case sale, purchase of cars, or like jewelry, all these things get qualified. So this 10th house lord's in the fourth house can be seen as a very good indicator of attaining success in this field. Friends, whenever any house lord goes to the fourth house, so somehow it becomes a matter of your emotions, it becomes a matter of your close to your heart. So because of your 10th house lord's placement in the fourth house, the kind of success native is going to get, or the way native's career profession is going to shape up, somehow his or her emotions will be directly attached to that. So it is very important for the native to choose his profession carefully, because his emotions, his feelings, or his private personal space is definitely going to be connected or attached with it. Moving ahead, friends, now if you will find your 10th house lord's placement in the 5th house, so this is a good indicator that you might remain lucky in making your career or your profession in a field which is somehow connected with your hobby, your something which you are very passionate about. Like all those people who start making videos or creating content on social media just out of hobby or passion, but just because of the kind of magnanimous response they receive, that they turn this hobby into full-time profession. So that could be indicator of that at the same time. Like friends, this is a very good indicator for all those people who have their occupation in the fields of creativity, social media, film business, entertainment business, and somehow just because in order for your 10th house lord to reach the 5th house, it has to go 8 places ahead of it. So definitely whatsoever your profession is going to be, there is going to be lot of research involved in it, there is going to be the concerns of enmity, competition involved in it, lot of risk taking involved in it, and basis the condition and placement of your 10th house lord in the 5th house, there could be little bit of the ups and downs and transformation in your professional life at the same time. But the good part here is that whatsoever native is going to do, he is going to be among those people who is going to perform his or her duties in a very cheerful way, rather than always making a fuss out of their professional duties or professional burden. And this placement could also be an indicator of all those people in whose profession dealing with children might be a part of work or a nature of work. And friends, let's say for example, just because 5th house also tells about your past life merits, so if with this kind of alignment you will also find the contribution of any of the nakshatra of Ketu, or Ketu's placement with the 10th house lord in the 5th house, or conjunction with the 10th house lord in the 5th house with Ketu. So that could also be an indicative of that whatsoever nature of work native do, it might have some connection with his past life, some past life unfinished business, or some sort of skill or perfection attained, or the gifts of the work done in the past life. Native might remain lucky in getting access to all of his past life talents and expertise in this lifetime. Moving ahead, friends, now if you will find your 10th house lord's placement in the 6th house, so that is a very good indicator that your actions, your deeds will definitely involve lot of problem solving, dispute management, crisis management, concerns of debt, concerns of health, which could be summarized in a way that this could be seen as a very indicative and very promising placement for becoming a doctor, becoming a law enforcer, getting in the field of HR, getting in the field of banking. Friends, you have to understand this thing that right at the beginning of this video, I have already cleared this thing that 10th house or its signification cannot only be restricted to a profession or a native's career. Whatsoever your actions or deeds are going to be, that is going to involve problem solving. Now, even if you will not become a doctor, you will not become a lawyer, you might become a part of any of your community related politics, where on daily basis people are coming to you to get a solution or find a solution of their problem, and you are actually helping people in arbitrate their problems, or even in all those kind of situation where people become a yogi, they become that guru where everyone, all the masses and people are coming to them in order to get the spiritual guidance and get a solution of their life's problem. So what I'm trying to say over here is that whatsoever your nature of work, your profession or your career is going to be, important here is that your actions and your deeds will definitely involve problem solving in that. So in this regard, this placement can be seen as a very good indication. Because friends, why did I involve the such a holy field of becoming a guru or becoming a spiritual like teacher or mentor? Because for your 10th house lord to be present in the 6th house, so that means it has to go 9 places ahead of it. So that means not only your actions, your deeds will revolve around solving the problems of the people, but at the same time inspiring them. Moving ahead friends, now if you will find your 10th house lord's placement in the 7th house, so that is a very good indicator, because for your 10th house lord to reach the 7th house, that means from the concept of Bhavat Bhavam, it has to go 10 places ahead of it. So this is a very good indicator that your deeds, your actions are definitely going to be very strong, intense and very impactful, which will have this capacity to create a buzz or noise in the society, in the world. So whichever field you are going to choose, there is going to be strong potential that you can attain power, position, authority, strong seat or influence the masses with your actions. Like with this placement, I have seen people who become successful actor, all those people who become successful lawyer, who do very good in a partnership business. So from all of those perspective, even attaining or getting success in foreign lands, or all those people who become independent content creator. So from all of those fields, this kind of placement can be seen as a very promising. Like all those people who are so much dedicated and devoted to their craft, to their professional responsibilities, that this will not be an exaggeration to say this thing, that they are actually married to their profession, married to their career. And friends, with this kind of placement, just because your 10th house lord is straight away coming and sitting and placed in the 7th house, so which means the matrimonial life is going to get impacted because of your profession. So now it all comes down to that in which dignity your 10th house lord is present in the 7th house, what is the state and condition of your 7th house lord, and individually the condition of Venus. Because if everything is going to be positive, well placed, well protected, so that means your partner is definitely going to support you or contribute you towards your professional duties and responsibilities. But let's say for example, if either of this pillar is going to get shaken up, like if your 10th house lord is weak or is getting afflicted in the 7th house, then in those situations, not only it is going to, or your profession is going to negatively affect your marital life, or your spouse might create obstacles in the path of your professional life. You could also look at it from that direction. Moving ahead friends, now if you will find your 10th house lord's placement in the 8th house, so to begin with, this is the indicator that definitely whatsoever line of work you will choose, your activities, your actions are definitely going to be very research driven. There is definitely going to be secrecy, confidentiality involved in it. There might be some sort of unpredictability involved in it. There might be all those concerns where you have to deal with traumatic situation, you have to deal with the emergency situation. And whenever the 10th house lord goes to the 8th house, I have always seen this thing that the native's career or profession is always remain transformative or always remain little bit unpredictable. So rather than relying on only one field, it is very advisable that native should always have multiple channel of income. With this kind of placement, I have seen all those people who work in contractual fields, who work in any sort of creative field, freelance work. So all those people can get benefited, because friends, from the 10th house, if you have to reach the 8th house, so that means your 10th house lord has gone 11 places ahead of it. So the actual gain and wish fulfillment of your deeds is the 8th house. And I always say this thing that all the houses in our chart has got a limit attached to it, but 8th house is a limitless house. 8th house is actually the house of miracles. So because of which, if your 10th house lord is going to be well placed in the 8th house, some good results can be expected. But friends, the only concern here is that if you will find your 10th house lord to be losing its strength in the 8th house, and specifically with this combination, Jupiter is going to be weak in the chart and Rahu is going to be creating or providing its influence in the 8th house, whether in the form of Rahu's presence in the 8th house, Rahu's aspect in the 8th house, or the 10th house lord to be present in the nakshatra of Rahu, even in the nakshatra of Rahu in the 8th house, then in those kind of situation or circumstances, natives' actions, natives' deeds are definitely going to be questionable, which could lead to or lead towards all sort of defamation or all sort of scandalous involvement in the life. So for that particular aspect, you have to do a very thorough scrutinization of the chart. Moving ahead friends, now if you will find your 10th house lord's placement in the 9th house, that can be seen as a very good indicator, because in our chart it's the 9th house only which is the house of luck, grace, fortune, divinity. So whatsoever native's actions, his deeds are going to be, they are definitely going to be divine protected only if in native's chart a religious austerity, faith, and at the same time his Jupiter is going to be in a strengthened state in his or her chart. But apart from that friends, this is a very good indicator that native's line of work might give him this exposure or this provision of a lot of long distance foreign travels. He might remain lucky just in order to perform his actions and duties, that he might be introduced to so many different cultures as well. With this kind of placement, it is always indicative and always advisable that native should always remain in the pursuit of upgrading his certification, his skills, his education, his knowledge base. And in this kind of alignment, friends, if you will find the 10th house lord to be well placed in the 9th house, native also might remain lucky in getting good sort of mentors, good sort of bosses, advisors who will always have natives good hidden in all of their advices, all of their instructions. So even from all of those perspectives, this placement can be seen as a very good sign. And just because friends, in order for the 10th house lord to be present in the 9th house, so that means it has to go 12 places ahead of it. 12 place, which in itself is a indication of complete surrender and losses. So whatsoever line of work native is going to choose, if he actually wants to create a strong impact in the world because of his actions, want to attain greatness or some sort of magnanimous success, he has to sacrifice a lot in the form of how much energy, how much discipline he is going to inculcate while performing his duties or actions. So that is definitely going to be always on the radar or always on the spotlight. Moving ahead friends, now if you will find your 10th house lord's placement in the 10th house, so that is a very good indicator that whatsoever the 10th house represents, you do not have to reach out to any other area of your life. The house lord is present over there, it is protecting the signification of that house. All the signification of that house are strongly rooted over there. So this is a very good indicator that native is definitely going to possess a strong confident personality. Native might also have strong leadership qualities. Native might also have strong management skills, strong executive abilities. And the good part here is that very rarely I have seen with this kind of combination that native get lost in his or her career path, because the house lord is present over there. It is definitely going to protect the signification of that house in the form of whatsoever is native's professional aspirations, his ambitions are going to be, native is definitely going to be working in all of his aspirations with a very acute and with a very clear vision. So with that particular or with this combination, this placement, this can be seen as a very good indicative of a concrete, rooted, a very well founded career related growth in this lifetime. And friends, with this kind of placement, native might also have a good relationship with his bosses, with the authority figure. Native might also remain lucky in getting all sort of favors from the government as well. So from all of those perspective, this placement of 10th house lord in the 10th house can be seen as a very good sign. Moving ahead friends, now if you will find your 10th house lord's placement in the 11th house, that can be seen as a very good indicator, because friends, 11th house is the house of your wish fulfillment. All of your wishes or your aspirations somehow are also attached with the 11th house, and just because for your 10th house lord to be placed in the 11th house, that means it has to go 2 places ahead of it. So because of which, whatsoever your aspirations, your professional undertakings are going to be, your actions could be very handsomely and very beautifully get rewarded. So from that particular aspect, this placement is creating a very good energy. Because friends, whenever we talk about the 10th house and the 11th house, it is a 11th house is also a highest of the Upachya Bhav. Whatsoever planets are present over there, they grow with the time, but they always give good results. So if your 10th house lord is going to be well placed and dignified in the 11th house, this could be seen as a very good indication of getting all sort of recognition, awards, popularity for all of your deeds or all of your actions. This placement is also a very good indicator that native might also remain lucky in coming in contact with very influential sect or influential people of the society. This is also a very good indication that native might also use his power, his authority, his influence to do some humanitarian work at the same time. And if the 10th house lord is going to be well placed or dignified in the 11th house, all the living signification of the 11th house, his elder siblings, his friends are also going to help or support native in any of his professional endeavors or while fulfilling his actions or duties or deeds in this lifetime. And last friends, if you will find your 10th house lord's placement in the 12th house, this is a little bit sensitive placement which you have to take with a pinch of salt, because friends, your house lord of your actions, your deeds has gone in the house of losses, gone in the house of hidden energies. So because of which, while assessing this placement, you have to assess it from all other contributing factors in the chart at the same time. Because friends, with this kind of placement, this could be seen as a blessing in disguise in all those scenarios where if you want to get the success in the foreign land, or you want to work in the monasteries, you want to work in the prisons, in the hospitals, you want to lose out your energy in order to help someone. So from that perspective, this placement could be seen as a positive placement. But apart from that, let's say for example, if in your case any worldly regular lifestyle nature of work is getting qualified, where you want to work hard and you want to get recognized and acknowledged for your work. So with this kind of placement, I have seen all those people who have to either work hard, struggle a lot, or they always come across all those kind of bosses who either undermine their work or never appreciate or acknowledge their work. No matter how much hard work they are doing, they always find it difficult for their work to come in the forefront and get acknowledged and recognized by the people. And trust me friends, in certain extreme cases, I have also seen this like placement in where what happened, this guy, he has moved from India to Canada, and this guy, he has a Scorpio ascendant. So definitely his 10th house lord is planet Sun, and Sun is placed in the 12th house. Not only it is debilitated, it is also losing all of his strength. Now what happened, this guy, he moved to Canada, and the place where he was working, a very serious allegation was put on this person by a female work colleague. So because of which all of this allegation got recorded in his file, and there was a lot of humiliation. So now what I'm trying to say over here is that if you have this kind of placement and your 10th house lord is losing strength in the 12th house and it is not getting compensated with the same planet in a dignified state in the Navamsa chart or in the Dasamsa chart, then in those kind of circumstances you have to do all sort of remedies connected with your 10th house lord in order to get the best recognition for all of your undertaken hard work. So this is something, friends, which I wanted to say as a part of my inputs for your 10th house lord's importance and its placement in different houses of your astrological chart. For further more updates and notifications on the divine science of astrology, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and like my Facebook page. Thank you.